Shalom, shalom, Erev Tov, Israel. Brothers and sisters, good to see you today. I'm going to dip in for a hot second. And I want to continue in the series of Why Hebrew. Okay, this is number four, if I'm not mistaken. And today, really quickly, I want to talk about a couple of the names and titles of the Most High. The names and titles of the Most High in their original form. Maybe I can shed a little bit of light on what they mean, crack a couple of jokes at how some people have thrown them around and added J's and all of those things in there. Again, I want to do this really, really quick. And I'm trying to be really high energy and patient too, because I just did this recording for this a few seconds ago and it just deleted and did whatever. Okay. So if at first we don't succeed, try again, and if it happens again, have a tantrum off camera. Okay? All right. So, titles and names of the Most High. Name, what's in a name? Was, I think, part 3 maybe of this series. Anyhow, the Hebrew word for name is Shem. Okay, I'm going to write it in the Merubah because some people were like, hey, I don't know what it is that you're writing. They're not used to the script. So in the Merubah, Shem. Okay, also one of Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Yefet. All right, Shem means not just a name or what someone's called, but it is their authority. It is their character. It's their, it's like something to have power of attorney. You can go and you can speak in someone's name. Okay, and if you are sanctioned and given the authority to speak in this person's name, functionally you are that person. Literally you are not, but functionally you are acting on their behalf. That's another video for later on. Okay, but the first one of these I want to start with, you know what, actually, speaking in other people's names like they did in the first century, with the Tannaistic rabbis and the Rishonim and all these other things. Speaking of some great sages, I want to introduce you guys to some folks very special and dear to me. None of them are here any longer. But this is my father, Steve Royal of blessed memory, and these are his three brothers. So my dad, Steve, they're standing by a really old-fashioned house, and trust me, these guys are huge and towering. My father, barefoot without shoes, was roughly 6 feet 11 inches tall, and his brother Grover wasn't very far behind him. But my father was a big rig driver, truck driver. He was forced to drop out of school, I think maybe fourth or fifth grade, in order to work and help his family. Yeah, but he was a great guy. 35 years now. Yeah, he's been gone, but he's still missed every day. It's something that doesn't stop hurting. His brother Jack, Uncle Jack, was one of the first. He was the first guy to make the trip and leave our humble beginnings of Mount Enterprise, Texas, Palestine, Texas, from the sawmills and all of that, and he made his way out west and made his money out in the L.A. area. He was a very meticulous, very debonair man. You couldn't eat in his car. I don't even think you could pass gas in this guy's car. I only met him once, from what I was told, and there was an incident between he and I, his car, and an ice cream cone. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Yeah, his wife also, they came up because I think at a Dodger game, at a Dodger game in Chavez Ravine, she was hit in the mouth with a foul ball. And she may have lost a couple of chiclets, but she came up on the other end. The baby brother, Sylvester, was named after my grandpa, after his dad. And Sylvester, of blessed memory, was an architect based in San Antonio, California. Yeah, great guy. Architect. His son even went on to become an architect as well, San Antonio and Corpus Christi. And finally, the brother Grover, very gangly, very lanky. See the old school cigarette? There's no telling what that is. Old school cigarette in his hand. And he was another exceptional man. owned a couple of homes and was really playful and funny. And he would run after you and he would look like a slinky, a really big, really, really dark slinky. Um, these are the men that shaped me. May their memories be a blessing forever and ever. They are to me. Okay, really quickly here. In and out, you guys, just like a robbery. El Shaddai. El Shaddai. Okay, so we know the word El, which will be used a lot. And then the word Shaddai. El Shaddai. El Shaddai can be found in Genesis chapter 35, verse 11. Genesis chapter 35, verse 11. Okay, El Shaddai. El, of course, we know, loosely translated, is the G word, the English God word that none of us really, really likes, and for good reason. That's also another video. But El is a title, mighty one, a great one. El has been assigned to trees, really big trees, mountains, X, Y, and Z. So there are a lot of El and or Elohim out there. Okay, but El Shaddai, Shaddai is a word that is associated with provision, and also shares the same root as the Hebrew word for breasts, for a mother's breasts. Yes, you heard me correctly. Okay. Um, Ever heard the phrase or the saying, the adage, and God is the word, mother is the word for God on the lips of a small baby. Mother is the word for God on the lips of a small baby. Because you have a baby, head flopping all over the place. We come into the world hairless, toothless. Some of us may come in hairless, leave hairless. Oh, Abba, help me. Oh, but we're completely helpless, okay, without mother, okay? So El Shaddai, he's the one who provides for us, whether it's our material needs, our nurture, our nourishment. He provides all of those things. And this is what he said to Jacob in Yaakov, sorry, in Genesis chapter 35, verse 11. And he told him, he said to Yaakov, he said, pre urve, be fruitful and be multiply, right? Because a great kehillah or kahal, a great assembly of nations will I make from you, and even malachim, kings will arise, will issue from your loins. That is El Shaddai. Again, found in Genesis chapter 35, verse 11. Expeditiously, our next title will be El Elion. El Elion. So El Elion can be found in Genesis chapter 14, verse 20. Genesis chapter 14, verse 20. El Elion is a word that means highest. It means supreme. At its root, the word or the letters Ayin and Lamed, Al, comes from the root La'alot. Okay, excuse me, which means going up. Going up. The name Aliyah, like the singer, may she rest in peace. This is where her name came from, okay? So, whereas there may be a lot of Els or Elohims or things that people would foolishly call Elohim, there is only one El Elyon. He is the supreme and the highest of anything that could possibly be called a God or an Elohim. In modern Hebrew, in the legal world, you have the court system, mishpat, okay? Um, when they can't get anything settled in the lower courts, they take it to Mishpat Elyon, which is the Supreme Court or the highest of the courts. That is El Elyon, and it is found once again in Genesis chapter 14, verse 20. Our next one will be Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 6. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 6. And it actually uses Yud He Vav He, Yud He Vav He. Okay, but then Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 6. 23, verse 6. Yahuwah, which is the name, of course, the name, and I saved it for last. Yahuwah Tzidkenu. Yahuwah Tzidkenu. Okay, so when you hear the nu ending on the end of a word and or a name, you should think of the Hebrew word anachnu or otanu, which carries a connotation of we or us or ours, okay? So tzadak is the root. Tzadak is the root of this word, tzadi, dalet, and the kof. Tzadak means righteous, okay? Righteous or upright. Tzidkenu means our righteousness. Yahuwah is our righteousness. Let's take a quick peek at that reference, as a matter of fact. I want to be expeditious, but I always feel like there's a big cheat going on if at least one reference from the Bible isn't read when you're doing anything. When you're reading anything, or doing whatever, something should be read. 23 verse 6, Jeremiah 23 verse 6 says, "In his days Yahudah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called in those days. Yahuwah, or the Lord, our righteousness." Okay, that's the name by which he would be called. Okay, so that's found in Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 6. Tzidkenu. Tzidkenu. Okay, two more and we're almost done. Okay, the next one, next to the last one, will be found in Genesis chapter 22, verse 14. Genesis 22, 14. This is another one of my giggles. This is one of my favorites, right? Because I've heard multiple people tear this one up all day long. All right? They stick a J in there where no J didn't exist. And yeah, it's turned into a whole bunch of things. Okay, so again, 22:14, Genesis 22:14. This one is Yahweh Ireh, Ireh, right? It's like, well, why doesn't it sound familiar? Well, I'll tell you why it doesn't sound familiar. It doesn't sound familiar because you probably never heard it pronounced properly, okay? So what you're used to hearing is good old straight up Jehovah Jireh. That's what you're used to hearing from back in the day, right? Jireh, right? There's no J. The letter J is only about 450 years old, tops. So in the ancient Semitic languages, whether it be Hebrew, whether it be Arabic, whether it's Aramaic, or any of the older Semitic languages, there was no J. There was something only equivalent to what we would call Y. So what's the deal with the Jireh thing or the Yir'eh? What does the Yir'eh really mean? Okay, so the root of Yir'eh, all right, Jireh, is the Resh, Aleph, and the Hey. Resh, Aleph, and Hey. It is the word Re'eh, okay? Re'eh. Re'eh means to see with your eyes, right? To see with your eyes, okay? But also, Ro'eh, or Ro'eh is also another name for a Navi or a prophet, right? It's one person who sees with more than just the natural eyes, but they see, beyond and beyond, okay? So in this particular reference, to draw your memory, this is right after the climax of the Akedah, when Abraham is getting ready to sacrifice his only son, Yitzchak, right? But then he looks up and he sees that there's an animal caught by his horns in the thicket, all right? And he called the name of that place. Well, all right, we got a couple seconds. Just read that reference. 22:14, I said. 22:14. Yep. 22:14 reads as follows. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so it says, Vayikra Avraham Shema Makomahu, and Abraham called the name of that place. What did he call it? He called it Yireh. Okay, he called it Yahuwah will see, okay? Of which it is said to this day that Bahar Yahuwah, on the mountain of Yahuwah, Yera'eh, he will be seen. So that mountain, what was that mountain? That mountain was Mount Moriah, that stands present day in Jerusalem, okay? Mount Moriah. And you can say that absolutely, in a sense, that he was seen eventually on that mountaintop, in the person of his Mashiach, who walked in his full authority and spoke. You remember, all of the words that I speak are not my words, but they are the words of the one who sent me, and on and on and on and on. Okay, finally, our last word, and we're out of here, will be Exodus. You'll find it in Exodus chapter 13. I'm sorry, Exodus 3, verse 15. Exodus 3:15, and I saved the best for last. It is the Tetragrammaton, as it's often called. Yud He Vav He. Yud He Vav He. Okay, so you might ask, well, no, you're not going to ask, because there's a lot of school of thought out there. Exodus chapter 3, verse 15. There's a lot of school of thought on what the pronunciation is. You have schools of thought that goes anywhere from Yehovah, Yahu, on and on and on and on, right? In some cases, sadly, it kills dialogue, and no bridges can be built, no communication can be had because of people's individual stances, right? Okay, so what I rely on is what you can find in antiquity. What can you find in antiquity that can support your stand on this pronunciation? Okay, I look in the Aleppo Codex, in the Leningrad Codex, Dead Sea Scrolls, on and on and on. And in most of the places where it's been cantillated as Ye, Ho, and Wa. O and U are interchangeable, okay, are very interchangeable. Like, for example, the Hebrew speakers call the brother of Moses Aharon. Muslims call him Ahrun. Hebrew speakers call Moses Moshe. Arabic speakers or Muslims call him Musa, okay? The Vav and the Waw, again, it depends on your inclination. So Yahuwah, Yahuwah. What I can tell you is that the remnant of Aramaic speakers that are left over, okay, they speak a Syriac Aramaic. It's not exactly the Aramaic or the Galilean Aramaic spoken by Yeshua and his followers, but it's very close. And they have always pronounced the name Yehovah. It's in the books. You just have to dig for the information, okay? What is it specifically about this name in that reference in 3:15? Okay, what is it about in that last reference? And we're done here. That is important. In 3:15, it says this as follows. Is that it? Yep, that's it. 3:15, it says, Vayomer od Elohim el Moshe. And then he continued and he said to Moses, this is the Most High, and he says, Tomar el bnei Israel, say to the children of Israel, Yehovah Elohei avotechem, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov. So the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of your fathers, Shlachani has sent me, right? And then toward the end, he says, Ze Shmi Leolam. This is my name forever. So, Ze Shmi Leolam. This right here, Yehovah, is my name forever. And most importantly, don't stop there. It says, Veze Zichri. Veze Zichri Ledor Vador. Zichri is a word that, like the Arabic word Zakar, or Zakar, it means memorial or to be remembered. But what most people miss is that it means to be mentioned. It also carries a connotation of being mentioned. Okay, you're not going to recall or remember anything unless it comes out of your mouth. Okay, so the name was never intended to be something that was secreted away and hidden. Of course, the intention was to protect it from blasphemy and other things, but it was never meant to be hidden. to become a secret. So he said, Ze zichri ledor vador. From generation to generation, this is my zichri, or my memorial. It is to be mentioned. This is why in the modern Hebrew language a maskeret with the same root, zayin, kaf, and resh, is a secretary, someone who reminds, repeats, okay? All right, and also you already know that in the name you have Haya was, Hove is, and Ihe will be. All of the tenses of the verb to be is found in the name of the creator of the universe. This is why it's no robbery when it is translated as the all-existing one, the one who always has been, the one who is, and the one who always will be forever and ever. Amen and amen and amen and amen. All right. I hope this has been useful. I hope it has been edifying. And I hope that even if you didn't learn anything new, maybe it's something that you could at least scratch your head and ponder and say, I'm going to comment and fight this guy on this. Or you might agree. Okay. If you found any use, like it and share it. Or leave a comment if there's any agreement. Plenty of room. And all comments are welcome. Okie dokie. I'll see you on the next one.